I guess we can start with the session. And to just give some context about the topic, today's topic is how we can grow ourselves and our brand using the content creation feature on LinkedIn, right? There is so much
Yeah.
hype about creating content on LinkedIn, but today we will be going to talk about the right way of creating LinkedIn. Uh, is there any problem in my voice?
No, no issues.
You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Uh, Ashutosh, Deplina, are you not able to hear me? What's the issue? Can hear you perfectly. Okay, great. So, okay, great. So, starting with this term, uh, according to you, Nidhi, what this term called LinkedIn growth writing mean? Like the example and the proper definition of how is like what does this mean?
LinkedIn growth writing is basically copywriting. Like how through writing those words on LinkedIn, be it writing a post or be it writing your own profile, how you can grow, how you can interact just through your writing, through writing on your profile and your post, how you can grow as a personal brand, and how through that writing only how you can generate inbound leads. So that is something that is LinkedIn growth writing.
Okay, so in simple words, it basically means that the content you put out on LinkedIn that attracts people and that will give your credibility as a content writer, and they will approach you for their projects and freelancing work, right?
Yeah, correct. But not just the post that I will be writing, but also the profile that I have written. So
Right,
it works both the ways. Yeah.
right. Okay, so moving forward to the questions, the next question is starting with the profile. As you said that profile also matters a lot in LinkedIn, so how to create a
Yeah.
like how to write your profile so that you can grow on LinkedIn and get inbound leads as a freelancer.
Okay. So, writing your profile starts with your headline. Like having a great profile helps you, whether you are engaging with other people in the form of DMs or either in the form of comments, because our first engagement is comments only. So for that, our profile matters. So the first thing is you'll have to have a good profile picture, and the second that comes in terms of writing is writing your headline. So for writing your headline, you should know that how you want to project yourself, whether you're writing your profile, your headline, or your entire profile. The first thing you should be clear about how you want to project yourself. You can't project yourself as 3 to 5 multiple niche expert. Or and there are people who will write, they are content writer, video editor, graphic designer, and multiple things. So your main purpose through your headline should be reflecting just one or two main key areas where your expertise lies in. So, so for writing your headline, you should portray your main skill that you have expertise in, and plus your target audience, who you are writing for. Suppose I'm a copywriter and a content writer, and I my target audience is content creators, artists, and coaches. So my headline will be something that approaches them. So my there are some formulas that you can use for crafting your headline. So basically you can use, since if you are a service based freelancer, if you are in service based niche, so you can write I help you, plus you can write your target audience, or you can write their pain point. I help dash their pain point plus dash the target audience, and then what are the elements or things you can help them with. So to sum this up, I can say I help plus the pain point, busy or busy coaches and content creators focus on their creative work through, then comes my service through copywriting and LinkedIn branding. So this is the way that you can craft your headline. So this is the entire formula. Then comes your about section. Once you have crafted your headline, your about section should play the major role. Now in the about section, there are different ways of writing about section. There is no hard and fast rule that you should be writing this way or that way, but there are one to two different ways that I'll tell you. Either you can start with a story, portraying a story, or either you can start by writing the pain points of your audience. These two are the main that you can use. If you are just confused, you are critically confused, like whether this is my audience or not, then what you can do is, like as a writer, I will tell with the perspective of a writer, since I'm a writer. So in the storytelling feature, you can in the storytelling formula, what you can do is you can start by telling your story. How did you start writing? What was the key point where you decided you will start writing? How did you start writing? How did you land into this field as a profession? And then once you have portrayed the entire story, after that you will tell them what are the services you offer. But the point here is, the first 2 to 3 lines of your story should actually catch the reader's sight, because those 3 lines will only be visible while writing the about section. Now, this was the storytelling formula for writing the about section. The other section, the other formula is the pain point formula. So, in the first 2 to 3 lines, just question for asking for hitting the pain point. Using this pain point formula, just use questions that your target audience is facing. So just ask 2 to 3 throughout those 2 to 3 main questions, and then later, once you have given those asked those questions, then tell them slowly that how you can help them with your services. The first will be the pain point, then comes the solution, then comes your process, how you will be helping them, and then showcasing them your services. This is the second formula. And there is one more formula, that is the third formula, that is the export formula. Export formula is something in which in the first 2 to 3 lines you showcase your expertise, whether you have 1+ year of experience, whether you have 2+ years of experience in the digital marketing or creating the digital content, or for example, say you don't have experience but you want to showcase your expertise. So what you can do is you can tell them, like I have written 100 plus LinkedIn posts for my clients, or you can say I have written 50 40 plus articles in this particular niche. So this one line showcases your expertise in the content creation field and within a particular niche. And then after that you can tell them your story. Then after that you can tell them what are the services you provide, how you help them, what is your entire process. And then at the end, our about section should not end without a CTA. Your CTA could be to book a call, or to message you on LinkedIn, or to email you, or to watch your podcast, or anything. It could be that. That's how we craft an about section. Once our about section is over, the next step we have to take is our work experience. In the work experience, mostly people do leave the work experience section, or just they will write my responsibility in this company was this. But our work experience section should have keywords. So there is a different method if you want to involve your keyword multiple times in the work experience section. You can incorporate storytelling. Suppose I have worked with I have been working as a freelancer with White Panda. So instead of writing that I have my responsibilities as a freelance writer at White Panda involves blog writing, this. What I can do is I can craft an entire story in the work experience section, and it's actually very catchy. And two, uh, what it does is it involves by writing the story in the experience section, you can have more than 2 to 3 times the keywords that you want to rank for. So this is how you can include many multiple keywords, the same keyword multiple times in your work experience section. And after that comes the featured section. Featured section is very important that people don't utilize. First the thing is, don't attach your resume or resume in your featured section. To um, uh, uh, I also see that many people what they do is they include their viral post in the featured section, which is again a no. What your featured section should include is your portfolio. First and foremost, your portfolio. Second, um, how they can contact you, your prospects or the leads, whoever wishes to contact you, how they can contact you. Either you can include a form, Google Doc form, or you can include a Calendly link. Again, I don't recommend Calendly link to budding writers. There's a reason that because prospects don't want to contact you because you are not that much known in the industry yet. So, no for that. Instead, what you can do is after having your portfolio, you if you have your portfolio, that is the best that you can do. Apart from that, any two ways to contact you. And the third thing you can do is if you have presence on other platforms like YouTube and podcast, attach those. The fourth thing you can do is attach your results. If you have got results for your clients, attach those. If you have testimonials from your clients, attach those in the featured section. That's what makes the featured section powerful, because your LinkedIn profile, that written profile, is a mini website. That it is a marketing funnel, because even before contacting you, your prospect will come from two ways, either through post, either through your profile if they have seen you commenting on anyone else's post. So this is the way a profile, a LinkedIn profile, you can create it. It can work as a marketing funnel.
Right. I guess that was like amazingly crafted. The whole thing about the LinkedIn profile. I just wanted to ask you, like, suppose there is a
Yeah.
student who are applying for job or internships. So in that case, can like he or she put their resume or CV in the featured section? Because I guess in that case, portfolio won't be of that matter as the resume, right? What do you think?
Yeah. See, resume. First thing that I don't recommend personally, because when I was trying to apply for jobs, my number was being misused through resume.
Okay.
That's the first thing that I don't recommend. Secondly, if you are putting out your resume, then the thing is that it should be targeted. Basically, if you are trying to add your resume, it should be for one specific job only. But if your motive is to explore different opportunities, and that resume reflects one thing, or you are trying to transition, that resume reflects one thing, then it is not the right way to be using featured section for that. Because resume is actually, resume writing is actually different thing. And
Right.
for that also, for if you want a specific job role, then your resume should be crafted exactly for that particular thing. But if you are clear about what you want, then you can attach your resume in the featured section.
Okay. Great. So, moving towards the next question. Uh,
Yeah.
According to you, how to write an effective LinkedIn post? And by effective, I mean key the prospects or the people who can give us the freelancing work or job or internships, they get noticed through our post, and they like give an inbound lead to us. So how that post is crafted so that they can actually target both the freelance, like whatever your target audience is.
Okay. So for writing an effective post, uh, you might know or might not know. Uh, these are the basics of LinkedIn, of writing a post, that you should have gap between, spaces between your entire writing, whatever you are writing, and you should have a hook, and you should have a CTA at the end. But to spice it up and to format your writing effectively, what you should do is, whatever you are writing about, what is that one thing that excites you about that particular content, put that at first. Or if you want to be concise, if we are focusing on our prospect, so what do they want, or what anyone wants is, just be clear, very specific they want you to be. Suppose if you are writing an educational content, um, there are 2 to 3 ways what you can do. Either you can incorporate your story, or otherwise be very specific. So what you can do is, either write a specific hook, either ask a either ask a question, or just start with a story, and then give a few spaces, and then add that spice. Yeah. And then add that spice of that entire content that twists that story. Or suppose I'll take an example, because this won't make clear till then. So I want to write an educational post, because you will get inbound leads through your personal stories also, but as much effective those educational posts will be, your personal stories won't be. So suppose you are writing an educational post, so you need to create a headline for that. The very first line, that one, the first hook is your headline while writing an effective post. So that should not be three writing tips, just like that. Add a human touch to that, like three writing tips for what. Suppose you want to target your audience directly with that educational post, so you can just ask them, why should coaches DIY their copywriting, something like that. So it is very clear whom you are talking to, so that your prospect knows you are talking to them. That makes your headline effective and your prospects reaching out to you easier. And then the second thing what you can do is you can then move to the answer, the solution that you are offering in that post. So it should be formatted. First, it should have spaces in between. Second, it should be having bullet points included, because it makes the process easier to read, to scan. Okay. And then at the end we can include a call to action. Either if suppose what you can do is, whether you want to ask a question to them, or either you want to them to book your services, you can just directly pitch that at the end of the post. That's it.
Okay, great. I guess that summed up the uh, LinkedIn writing part, like how to craft a good post. Moving towards, also, thank you, Amrita, for summarizing the first part of the session. Secondly, talking about key, according to you, what are some do's and don'ts one should remember while creating content on LinkedIn, and especially by like when writing a LinkedIn text post. So, what are some do's and don'ts they can follow?
Okay. First, it should not be those big blocks of text. Like I do see, there are newbies who are joining LinkedIn, and sometimes, I have noticed that they do use bigger blocks of text. That's already a big no, because your writing is, it's not just that LinkedIn algorithm catches only 1 to 2 line text, the spaces, but having those spaces in between your text, it makes your writing scannable. Actually, the first thing is this. The second thing is, if not including the call to action at the end of your post. That's another thing, because if you are not adding a call to action, people won't comment, people won't write their opinions. If you haven't asked them to, they won't engage. And if you haven't asked them, they won't engage, and you won't get any engagement, and hence your content is pointless. So that's the other thing. Another thing that I feel is like, having bullet points makes your writing much more scannable after the point one, that is having spaces. It really has a good impact on the reader, because it makes your writing very concise and scannable to read. And it is actually very easy to read when you have, first, the spaces between your posts, and second, the bullet points included. So these are the two to three main things that I would recommend that people should use.
Okay, so I guess that points are some of the good that actually makes the post scannable and readable for the users as well.
Yeah.
We have a question that from which we post on LinkedIn, through mobile or through laptop. Is there any difference?
No, there's no difference. You can post from any of the devices that you have. There's no such difference. No.
Right, and what I think that only the LinkedIn articles that we have, they can be
Yeah.
posted on from a desktop or a laptop screen,
Desktop.
right?
Yeah. Correct.
Apart from
Yeah.
that, anything can be posted from both the devices, and from the profile to everything we can access, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Correct.
Okay, so moving towards the next question. Yes, there is difference because of the emojis or punctuation, but for MacBook it is not there. then you can maybe use a mobile. Nidhi, he says that there is a difference because some of the things don't like seems different, and in the MacBook these are not there.
I don't know about the MacBook. Hmm.
Even I don't.
I
Okay.
don't know about the MacBook, but I emojis for emojis from it might seem different from both the devices, from mobile or the desktop, but we have options, I guess, for from those. From the desktop, we have different Chrome extensions from which we can use emojis, etc. I guess.
Right. So he's asking that through which medium you post on LinkedIn, like from which device.
I am a big fan of mobile. I mostly post from mobile, but sometimes I do from desktop also.
Okay. So moving towards the next question, after the text post, I want you to
Yeah.
like give some light about how often one should post, like should put a post using other features of LinkedIn like documents, polls, or images instead of a simple text post. So how like how do you recommend posting these uh, like different types of things that we have?
I recommend using the other content formats definitely, because see, though text post is actually very famous on LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is breaking those mentality, you say, or that you should only be posting text format. That is not actually there anymore. LinkedIn is actually promoting video content now. Though I haven't practiced video content, but I feel the other formats do perform very well. If you see engagement,
Especially the
or
poll
like the
section as
reach.
well. Like the poll one is the new, so that is getting the more
Poll
reach.
one, it is getting, yeah. I don't use poll feature very often, but I have started to use it. It the poll feature has really good reach actually, because it is easy to read and easy to answer, so it reaches a lot of people. So if you want to increase your reach, and in fact if you want to generate inbound leads, you can do with the poll feature. So there is a criteria for generating leads through the poll feature also. And apart from that, I feel uh, not just the text post, but the document, the carousel post does very well, because I have posted, I think so, 5 to 6, but I'm loving posting a document post. I have posted 5 to 6 carousel posts, and they have got amazing reach. And it those posts were not a story post, any personal story post. They were all educational posts. Even then, they have received a very good reach and engagement both. So I would say, you should experiment and try to experiment with all the content formats. And for everyone it works differently, but I believe that carousel posts and polls, you should definitely give them a try, because they have really good engagement, and visuals always capture people's attention. So that is another reason that document post does better.
Okay, and talking about that, how often we should put a carousel or a video content in the middle, like uh, suppose we are posting 5 times a week, so
You
how
can.
we can divide that?
Okay, okay. So what you can do is, if you have to break it down between two, between text post and carousel post. What you can do is you can create three text posts in 1 week, and including two carousel posts for 5 days. And if you want to break it into 3 day three formats, then you can do what you can do is three text posts, one carousel post, one poll, and you can then alternatively shuffle it with one video as well. Or you can just reduce it. Completely depends upon you that how many you want to do. But I feel having one carousel post in 1 week is much than enough. Having one,
Right.
so you can just play with the text posts, whether you want to do three text posts in a week, whether you want to do two of them, and include the third one as a video, and the fourth as a poll.
Okay. So basically, we can like manage it according to our needs and our time requirements. That whenever we have time, we can batch our content and like in the previous week, so that we can post it accordingly.
Yeah, for carousel I would say at least one carousel you should post every week.
Okay. Yeah. Yathanshu is asking, what are the benefits of LinkedIn Premium account? Is it worthy enough?
um Priyanshu.
Yathanshu.
Yathanshu. Yathanshu, LinkedIn Premium has its own benefits. What I feel is if you want to invest on LinkedIn Premium, it's a good investment, but only if you are a power searcher. Because if you are someone who searches for a lot of people on LinkedIn and wants to generate inbound leads, so having premium option is a good one for you only then. If you want to search for people or search for profiles endlessly, for that, and secondly for the sales navigator, because you can then precisely exactly target those people that you want to work with, and then move forward to talking to them. Only then I feel. Otherwise, there's no hard and fast need. But I would say yes, it has its own benefits.
Okay, I hope it answers your question, Yathanshu. Moving towards the next question, we talked about the profile and the content creation on LinkedIn. Now I want to ask this question, that how one can earn by creating content on LinkedIn, and how to get that outbound or inbound leads for the people who are looking for some freelancers to work on their LinkedIn profile.
Okay. So, earning through LinkedIn, like right now, LinkedIn is transitioning to monetize LinkedIn for its creators. So, that part is going to come soon. But apart from that, it is not directly that you can earn by creating content on LinkedIn. What you can do is just create content on a regular basis, and when that content reaches your prospect, like you have to create that content that it directly talks to your audience, to your target audience, so they can connect with you and ask for your services. That is the way that you get inbound leads. The other way is that you can pitch to your prospects for your services, like for writing content on LinkedIn. If For that you can do actually two things. You can include first, in your LinkedIn banner, you can include that you provide these LinkedIn content creation services, and secondly include that in your about section also, and then third, start creating content endlessly on LinkedIn. These are the three things things that you can do, and then you can showcase that as your portfolio to your prospective clients. Another And this is the also the other way through which you get inbound leads. Now another way to get leads is that you can use poll feature. In the poll feature of LinkedIn, what you can do is you can ask a question asking whether you would be interested in which of my services you would be interested in, and then you can add the options: content writing or email marketing, LinkedIn content creation. Similarly, like 2 to 3 options, and the people who vote for in that post and who ask for the LinkedIn content creation or whatever service they ask for, you can then just connect with those people. And because this is a good way of generating leads, because they have actually engaged with your content and given you the answer, so you can directly connect with them and then tell them and ask them what are their requirements, and then you can move forward with it. So this I feel poll feature is a great way of generating leads. The other thing that you can do is connect in a higher amount with your target audience. If you have You can't just connect with everyone in the to just expand your network. You need to be very clear, have primary, secondary, and tertiary audiences with whom you will be connecting. Like mine are basically doesn't mean that you won't connect with other people, but a particular batch of people they should be like, first my primary audience is my target audience whom I will be connecting with. The other comes the content writers, and the third one comes in the creative niche, which includes and graphic designers and digital marketeers, and the people in the creative field. Basically I'm more in my audience, whosoever is in my connection is the one who is in creative niche, creative industry. So these are the people. You can have other people, but try to have a ratio, and the higher ratio of in your connection should be of your prospects. So when once you have that higher proportion in your connections of your prospects, what you can do is start creating content. When you create more and more content, they will see that you are creating content on that particular niche or in your particular industry, and whenever they require your services, you can just they can just connect with you. For that also, you need to create content that is not just the content that talks about their pain points, but also the solution and also the results and testimonials. Only then they can connect with you at a much faster pace, connecting you as in text you on LinkedIn. The other ways, you can just the people who have engaged with your post, you can just send them a voice note saying thanks for engaging with my content. I saw you engaged with my content on LinkedIn. Thank you for engaging, and if there is something that I can help you with, do let me know. So this is the way, and having a voice note, sending a voice note is much more effective than just a text. And but try doing this only with those people who are in your target audience and who have engaged with your content. So these are some ways that you can generate inbounds and outbounds on LinkedIn.
Okay, so that was a quite informative and descriptive answer. My last question to you is like after this question, we can take the audience questions. So, my last
Yeah.
question to you is something you want to tell about your own experience on LinkedIn. Any good or bad experiences you want to share?
Okay. So, while writing my for my personal profile or with clients.
Anything like which you think we can have some uh, what we say knowledge and experience, and we shouldn't do that thing, because also I know that there are many things when you write for a client and when you write for yourself. So you can discuss
Yeah.
about the things you are comfortable.
Okay. Okay. So first thing is that you won't receive engagement in the first place in the initial days of putting out content. So that's something that people, and in fact I initially struggled with, because I wasn't getting LinkedIn when I was entirely new. So I was noticing people, how they are putting out content, and how good engagement they are receiving, and I didn't receive. So that was something I struggled with. And whether you are creating content for yourself or for your clients, you won't get engagements initially in the initial days. You will have to consistently work on that part. Um, it can take 1 month, 2 month, it can take 3 months to 6 months to get a good amount of engagement. So that's something I struggled with initially, but it accelerated after 2 or 3 months, I guess. So that depends upon how consistent you are in creating content for yourself. And the second thing, if you are going to work with any client, then don't tell them that they will get this much engagement and these much followers in 1 month, because LinkedIn content creation is entirely an organic process, so it will take time. 3 to 6 months is the time that it will definitely take. So I would say never promise your clients that you can get views for the content that you are writing, or higher amount of views in the first month or in the first week. Never do that, because it is not going to happen actually. So that's something that I did. Like I did not promise my clients, I but it was something that even after having my creating content for my own self, I was quite confused. Like when my clients used to ask me that we want these many followers in 1 month, and I had no answer to what I should say. So that's something that you won't get the results in the 1 month or in the 1 week.
Right, because results take time
Yeah.
and we can't commit something
Yeah.
which isn't in our hand, right? Because we can create the proper
Correct.
content, we can create the proper strategy, but we can't commit what results or what engagement or what leads you will get. This is the most commonly
Yeah.
asked
Correct.
question, even that clients ask us, that
Yeah. Correct.
how you can take the lead, like how the lead generation would happen, how much time will it take. So that's quite a tough question
Yeah.
even to answer.
Yeah, and even if you are just creating content for your client, it won't get engagement if your client doesn't engage with other people's content. I have noticed this just a lot. Like clients don't engage because obviously they don't have time. And if you are just creating content for them, and they are expecting that you get those higher amount of views and engagement, that is not going to happen because your client is not engaging with other people's content.
Right. because we only have one aspect of the business. There are many other aspects that has to be looked into before we get some leads or we get some engagement, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so we can take the questions. Yethanshu asked how to select the cover picture
Yeah.
on the LinkedIn profile, or which kind of cover picture to put. Am I audible?
Yathanshu, you don't need to select. You know, need to create it from scratch. According to, yeah, you are audible.
Okay, great. You can continue.
Yeah. So, Yathanshu. So, you need to create your cover picture according to what you want to project yourself as. Do you want to project yourself as a digital marketer? Do you want to project yourself as a graphic designer or what? So once you have decided what you want to be projected as, use your tagline in your cover picture. Your cover picture should have your tagline. It should have a call to action. Where that call to action could be your website link, your portfolio link, or link to your social channels. And that's it. These are a few things. And obviously you need to take care whether you are using any Canva template or using your own brand colors. You need to uh, check which colors would go great with your personal brand. But apart from that, these are the 2 to 3 things that you can include in your cover picture. And if suppose you are working as a professional somewhere, so what you can do is you can just include graphic designer slash the company name also you can include there in the cover picture. Basically, cover picture is there to tell someone without just scrolling down to your profile that what you do. So it should it should reflect whom you are talking to, your target audience definitely. So that proves that you are very professional for yourself. And third, your portfolio or website or your social links. That's it.
Yeah. So hope it answers the question. Uh, okay, there is one more question that in LinkedIn Premium, does LinkedIn gives some extra security benefit to the premium users?
What kind of benefits?
Extra security benefit.
Wait, security
Yathanshu,
benefits.
I don't know. Maybe. Yathanshu, I have unmuted you. Please ask your question, whatever you have. Oh, shit. क्या हो गया नेटवर्क को लास्ट में पैसे हरकतें करता है